All right, here we go. Episode 23 of the High Octane Dads podcast. We're rolling in kind of the end of the season here, coming into the holidays. You ready, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. I think for next week, man, we might have to talk to some people, get some maybe we'll get a big group in for the episode 24. I think that'd be kind of cool.
I think we could
Get some
do that.
people interested. Steve's got to get in. We'll have to figure out. I know his schedule's kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
we got to get him in. But I think tonight we're going to start off with our kind of usual thing, and mine's going to be really boring, but kind of some project updates, or at least what you're working on. I know the thing I'm working on is not the thing I want to be working on, but I don't know about you. What you got going on?
That's kind of a similar scenario that I've got going on. It seems that everything I have right now is falling apart around us. Like the rear diff is broken in the Hyundai we still haven't fixed. The Volvo sprung a major leak in the power steering high pressure line. And then a couple of days later, I walked out and the rear glass is shattered.
That's right.
Hatch.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You sent me pictures of it. That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, and I can't see where anything's hit it. The only thing I can think of is for me opening and shutting the hatch, because there was a couple of days I thought I had some tools go missing, and I ended up finding out that I left them in my dad's truck at his house like 3 weeks ago. Actually, no, it's about a month ago now. And I was like, somebody's been going through my shit. No, it was at my dad's house. But and I thought I had them in the back of the Volvo. I don't know if maybe I slammed it one time and the glass kind of shifted and broke. But I found one on Marketplace, the same color, and I messaged the people. I'm like, hey, what do you want for the rear hatch? And they're like, $500. I'm like, I didn't even respond. I'm like, I mean, that's more than half of what I paid for the car, so I'm not doing that. But what was it? And then Suburban's got a power steering pump that just sounds awful. It's not very good right now. And what else is going on? The Caprice had put a windshield in it. The insurance did that.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So when I went for my orientation for my new job, I was coming home and I was riding through Richmond, and they had a bunch of work on the interstate. And I never heard anything, but all of a sudden I looked up and there's a giant star on the top right of the windshield. And I was like, what the fuck? Where did that come from? Like, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, that's going to have to be replaced, because it had like 2-inch, ends off of it. By the time I got home, it went like a foot long and started stepping up the glass.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, well, so I called my insurance, and I had a $0 deductible. And
they're usually pretty good about glass if they got you on a good plan.
And they did, they come out and did my windshield, and then they said, oh, we require you to have new wipers as well, so it doesn't damage the new glass. It's like, okay. And they're like, oh, we do those for free. Do you want us to do those too? Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, so the only complaint I have, maybe it's a placebo, I don't know. I hear a lot more noise passing through the windscreen now. I don't know if it's the quality of glass is different, thinner glass, but like I can hear like the valve train noise from the engine a lot more, which
could that be that, or the mufflers you changed out and now it's not quite as loud?
Well, that's the other thing, and that could be it as well. But because I did drive it some with the old windshield with the new mufflers, because we didn't talk about that the other weekend. I put it in one of the Facebook groups, but I put the PPV mufflers back on the car, and it is actually very quiet. Like, because this morning I started it, and then I had to go get something out of my Suburban, and I walked by it, and it was pulled in the driveway, and I walked by the back of the car first. It's like, okay, and I started walking beside the car, and it got louder the more I got towards the front of the car, so that could be it.
Yeah.
But not a bad loud, but I could just hear the valve train noise, through the the injectors and the everything just clicking and clacking away. But no, other than those, I mean, I haven't really been doing anything fun. It seems like I said, everything's breaking. We've been doing a lot of family stuff. We went to Halloween thing at the theme park. We're going the Saturday after Thanksgiving. We're going to do it again for their Christmas stuff, because I'm going to Chicago for a couple weeks there the 1st of December.
Yeah, that's tough. this time of year.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I think I'm supposed to go again in February. So I don't know, but I mean, like I said, really no other projects. I did. So my daughter got a new boyfriend, and he's actually pretty into cars,
Okay.
but they're into Mopars. Uh,
I got
and
one.
yeah,
I'll
well,
deliver it.
they're into old Mopars, but like,
They need to put a newer Hemi in it, and it'll be awesome.
well, so I don't remember what he told me it was. He sent me pictures of it. This is bad. So this the way these kids communicate these days. We'll talk about more of this. You'll see where this is going.
You've never sounded older
Well,
than when you made that statement
no.
right there.
So we went to Kings Dominion a few weeks ago, and we did the Halloween stuff, and we brought my daughter's boyfriend, and we were talking about something or whatever, and he was like, "Oh man, add me on Snapchat so I can send you pictures and stuff of my cars," and I'm like, and so now I'm in like this snap streak with my daughter's boyfriend, and it's usually him sending me pictures of them sitting on the tech bus together, going to VOTEC every day, and I'm
So,
like,
so that's
okay.
how you remember to open Snapchat every day. I literally have had the app for years. I've never once in my life had a streak or whatever with anybody until you started sending Snapchats, and now it's like what 70 something days. But
I
it's
don't know.
literally I I don't think
I never did that. I never kept up with all that stuff. But then what Holly talked about it, doing it with people. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's all you
yeah.
can do. I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't know what those little symbols mean next. But then now there's so many people that just do it to me every day. I'm like, click, click, and just sending it back.
Yeah,
But
my daughter was big, and she had some friends. And one night, I'll never. We were at dinner, and it's like 9:30 or something. We were still at the restaurant. And she's like, "If such and such doesn't answer me back, we lose our snap streak. I'm gonna lose it." And I was like, "I don't. Does it matter? Like, what?
yeah,
What is going
yeah.
on?" And that's the
Well,
first I had heard of it, like a few months ago.
yeah. He's still taking the automotive mechanic class at the local VOTEC,
Okay.
and he's got I don't know what it is. They've got all Mopars kind of like from the era of our cars. So, 80s, 90s. And he's got some sort of wagon, but it's got a slant six in it. And he's like, I love that thing. It's so great. And I'm like, great. And I'm like, but then I was like, what do you need to do to get ready? And he sent me this list. And it was like, I'm like, so basically you need a new car. And I'm like, I know how this goes. It sucks.
Yeah, I was about to
But
say we've been there.
yeah,
Um, you know,
but I mean, he was talking about it, and I was like, man, that thing would be great to put like a modern Hemi in it, and just to make a nice driver. But yeah,
like I
he said
said,
it.
I'll deliver an entire 2006
Like,
SRT8 300C, brand new tires, oil
mhm.
change, coolant flush, leather interior. I mean, it's decked out. I'll put it on the trailer and deliver it for 7,500, $7,000.
Hell yeah.
Somebody make me a friggin' offer. It's just in the driveway, man. And I'm never going to get around to it. Can't drive them all, and it'd be better to be with somebody who likes those cars and is going to
Mhm.
really fix it up and do a lot with it. I mean, I would love to be the one that does it, but something else would have to go. And like, I'm just too attached to the cars I have. And that
Mhm.
kind of leads me into what I was going to mention when you mentioned like that car, the wagon and all. Like, I see so many like cool wagons. I think I sent you guys after we met with Dustin last week, right? Like, I found that big old Chevy cargo van with the big
Yep.
car stereo set up in it and everything, and I was like, this thing is too cool. And like, I'm drawn to these unique,
Mhm.
not so mainstream cars. And like, there's a local guy here, Gary, and he's got a diesel Mercedes, like a
Oh, I think we've
old,
talked about
like,
that one before.
yeah,
Isn't that
I
like a
love that
regular
car.
car group or something you were saying
Yeah,
talking about?
they were the average squad. And it was funny
Okay.
because I was going through my nightstand looking for the title to that Ford I inherited, and um I came across some stickers that I'd gotten that said like average squad, and it was like, um there was a couple different stickers I had from them, and they don't do as much now because the guy that I think did a lot of that, which is also the guy that kind of helped me get back into car photography and stuff. He moved up toward the Atlanta area, so he's not around as much. And it's not like I was super close with any of those guys, but I was friends with him on Facebook, and you know, definitely my kind of people for sure. But it's like, I can't add another car,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to get rid of these two. But man, I come across, I sent you the other day that dually
Oh
OBS.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, man, that thing is,
That,
and it was so clean. Oh, it was so clean.
I
I was
got to
like,
stay
see,
off
it's stuff like that.
marketplace because that's what I do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's great. But like now I'm not at a point where I have anything I want to get rid of. So I'm like, I just look. And, when I was trying to get rid of the C10, I was like, every now and then I would look for stuff. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. Oh, they'll take trades. Hey.
Mm. Yep.
But no, if it would have been like 2 years ago, I'd have been all for that 300 because I was looking for the fun 4-door rear wheel drive sedan.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of invested.
Well, I mean, and like I told my wife, it's one of those things that if we somehow had more space or, some other things got going, which I did get rid of the Ford. Um, so, that worked out. I had a friend who really needed a car to get back and forth to work. So I cut him a deal on it. And, he's going to
Huh.
drive it. I'm waiting for the title to come in because I don't know what I did with it.
Yeah.
I literally have every title to every car here except for that one. So had to go down to the tag office on my lunch break and pay him $8 for him to mail me
Yeah.
another title.
That sucks.
But, you know, I really haven't done much. I mean, the car is still sitting here. This engine's still sitting here. It's, every time I start to work on something, like I was telling you before we started recording, we just had to buy a washing machine yesterday.
Yeah.
And, we went in and like I guess it's the transmission or something underneath the washer, like puked oil all on my LVP floors, and it just stopped spinning. And we had heard it get loud, and we knew, like, we effed around and we found out. It was like, all right, it's loud, but it's manageable. It's doing all right. And I knew better, but we just kept running it. And then finally, when it died, I was like, okay, well, I'll try to fix it. But it's like, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to get, we've had it for 6 or 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now I got a big old spot on my floors that probably is not going to come up. But
Yeah, that's ours. I think we've had them 6 years, and right earlier this year before we went to the beach, the dryer started making like a clunk, 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 clunk. And I'm like, it's probably a belt. And I said, I'll check it when we get back from the beach. I haven't checked it yet. But the
still
sound,
clunking.
yeah, but it's not as bad as it was. I think the belt or whatever is coming apart. So it
Well, see,
still works.
the washing machine had done that like last year. It was squealing like crazy. So I was like, crap. It's, but it ended up just the belt was starting to shred and the belt was slipping on there. So I got another belt and put it on there. And it's been good for like another 6, 8 months. But
Yeah.
then I guess that bearing and all, it just finally dried out. And then,
Yeah. Well, our
and
washer.
I mean, it got hot, I'm sure. So like, I'm just got to
Yeah.
replace it.
Our washer, I ended up, I had to replace the struts that were inside of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, I flipped it up and replaced all of the struts and the springs and all the bullshit bushings in it and everything. And I'm like, these things aren't built very good for as fucking expensive as they are.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I'm not very happy with that either.
Well, one thing, at the risk of, I said earlier, you've never sounded older, but the truth is, like, they don't make stuff like they used to. And so we end up, with this, like,
It's all a money racket.
yeah, well, it's a replacement economy now, right?
Yeah.
People don't repair things; they get rid of them and they just get a new one. And I mean, I know that's maybe hypocritical for me to say after I went, but I've limped our washer along for at least 2 years. We probably really only would have gotten about 3, maybe 4 out of it. But I've done quite a few repairs. I've repaired our dryer a couple of times at this point, and that's one thing that my dad always instilled in me for sure was, if you can fix it, and it's going to save you money. And I thought about this. I think the last time I fixed the washer, it was like, even if we ultimately end up having to replace this thing,
At least you get
I
more
bought
time.
I bought us another 6, 8 months for $12 on Amazon.
Yeah.
And a little bit of my time.
Yeah, maybe a couple hours of your time at the most.
Yeah. And, and I think a lot of that comes from, like, when you work on these cars and a lot of stuff, you're able to kind of look at things and go, all right,
Figure it out.
This thing's gotta be, gotta have a problem here or here with what it's doing, and being able to kind of diagnose it and take it apart, like it's still a machine. And that's, that's definitely a benefit of being, at least a little handy, is, when you need something done, not having to always pay somebody to do it.
You think about it. everything's just nuts and bolts.
Yep. It went together
Everything's got an
somehow. It's got to
order.
come back apart.
Right. I mean, everything is like a puzzle. And you figure these are like adult Legos. That's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or like adult models or big models. But I mean, no, I mean
Big
everything's just
models.
nuts. Well,
I,
not the kind, not the
I
kind
could
that
be one of
Steve likes.
those. I
Not the
could be a
kind of
big model.
not the kind of ones that Steve likes. But
Uh,
but no, I mean that's all they are is like giant puzzles, just nuts and bolts and everything comes apart. And like I said, there's a way to go back together. I mean, you just have to kind of
and sometimes you don't need all the same bolts that you took it apart
no,
with.
no,
You
it
got
happens a
extras.
lot. It happens
It's
a
great.
lot. Weight
I just made a
reduction.
more efficient system. That's all it is.
Exactly. See, they loved me when we were building it. I had to save the company lots of money.
Exactly. You can reuse that nut or bolt somewhere else.
Exactly.
But speaking of disassembly, before we get too far on the topic of the washer machines and stuff that nobody wants to hear about, when I pulled the oil pan off this Gen 4 5.3, I kept pulling. And I was like, it obviously that wasn't this way on my LQ4 because I'm pretty sure I reused the gasket that was on it. And I was like, damn, I've got to order a gasket. There's 2 rivets holding the oil pan gasket to the pan.
You got to drill them out.
And and I was talking to a buddy of mine about that, and he was like, I've taken apart a lot of these engines. I've never seen them riveted on there, So I don't know. It's got me kind of, this just happened the other day. He and I were talking. And so now I'm like curious when and why, and, when did they start putting the rivets on them, because I think there were, what he was saying is he's pretty sure he's had some Gen 4 ones apart that didn't have that on there.
So typically when you pull the Gen 4 ones apart and they don't have it, it's because they've been gone into.
Probably. I mean, that was my first thought when he said that. I was like, somebody's probably had it off before.
Yeah, and it's typically the dealers because they had so many of those early Gen 4 engines, especially that with the DOD, and it was like oil consumption, and so people were raising hell. And, I've known of people that were techs that would send me pictures, and like they were doing pistons in a cam in those 5.3s and 4.8 trucks like every day.
Yeah.
And they got to the point where they would just like be the bare block with the crank in it, sitting in the truck, and they were just swapping parts and pistons, So, and there's like a bypass valve that's inside the pan of those things. I've got 2 of them laying around here in the garage somewhere. I don't know why I don't throw this shit away, but that if you get the pan and it's got like a little shroud that's covering up this valve, the pan's been off before, because that was one of the, or after a certain time period, they all came with them. But it was something when the relief valve would hit, it would spray oil at the bottom of the number 7 piston. And so it was causing some issues there. So then they'd put this little diverter, so that way when the oil would bypass, it would just squirt straight down. Well, like my Caprice, when I had the pan off, I blocked that off. I just deleted the bypass valve and I put a different oil pump on it.
I'll have to look at that on mine. I've got it sitting over here, but yeah, I guess in a way it's either a good thing or a bad thing that mine's never been apart, because either maybe it had an issue and was never addressed, and that's why they pulled the motor, or it's just it was running fine and they never had to pull it apart. One of the two.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's getting a new cam, obviously, DOD delete and all that stuff. So hopefully be okay. I ain't going so far as rods and pistons, but should be fine.
Oh yeah.
Everything looks okay. So I think
you just if you don't pull the pistons out, just do the cam. Don't look at the cam bearings, and you already did the cam in it, didn't you?
No, I've got the oil pump and everything off to do it. I just literally gotta get out here and put it in.
Pull it out.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I know the Facebook group has been great, and there's been a lot of people putting stuff in there. But I had on here for us to talk about. I know you and me both for the last few weeks really have. I know I've intentionally tried to be on social media less. I monitor the Meta business, so if people send a message to the page or do anything like that, I'm staying on top of that because that's a different app. But like being on Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that, my photography page, I'm not posting near as much.
Not doom scrolling.
Yeah, man. I mean, and truth be told, I'm not going to say it's like been this wonder thing that suddenly my mental health is the best it's ever been, but I'm back in the gym. I'm finding time for a lot of things, getting a lot of stuff done around the house. Went and did senior pictures for my brother's stepson this past weekend, and had a lot of fun doing that, and found a cool new spot to do photography at. It's this cool area on the river there, and there's this whole wall's got graffiti on it and stuff like that. It's super cool spot. So just had a good weekend. Just we stayed, we hung out at my brother's after that for the birthday party for his stepson's birthday party, and he was turning 18, and made a fire, man, and we just hung out for 3-4 hours. Like, I can't tell you the last time that we probably did that long uninterrupted. I just left my phone in the truck. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And it was great.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
really good.
Yeah. I mean, definitely with this job change and just, my whole routine's different. I've kind of been on stuff less. I did finally go through and I had so much shit on some of these apps that people have been sending me for months that I just never opened. And in the last week or so, I have been on a little bit more, but as far as Facebook goes, I haven't really been on there like I used to be. And some of it could be the job change, and like you said, some of it just could be just stepping away subconsciously a little bit because just trying to change things up and get out of the same routine I've been in. So try to make little changes as we go.
Well, and I think too, when you're frustrated with your situation, be it your job or whatever, you look for something to distract. It's an escape, even if it's looking at a bunch of crap that doesn't matter, right? We try to find, people will retreat to a lot of different things. Video games, I've found I'll, if I'm having a really difficult time I'm going to go play a game or something and just zone out for a while. And, Facebook becomes that for a lot of people. Ironically, those might very well be the people who will, not folks who sit around and play video games for 2-3 hours, but then they'll sit there and scroll reels literally for that long and, accomplish even less. So
Right.
and to each his own. I don't care, but it's just, it's kind of funny to me. But trying to really remove those things. And I've got a bit of news. So I'm going to be changing jobs in December. So, part of my pulling away from social media and trying to find pockets of time in my day is I'm studying a lot of the AWS, like Amazon cloud services and things, for some certifications that I'm going to need for my new role. And, there's a lot that goes into that. And I'm really trying to, it's not just studying to go take a test and get a certification. It's I'm going to have to know this stuff for my job. So I'm really
Right.
spending a lot of time on that. And then when I'm not doing that, my son's taking guitar lessons now. So I've been playing guitar with him in the evenings, and that's been great for me to knock some of the cobwebs off of those skills. And
That's something I've been wanting to do again too. Is just I got a lot going on. So we were talking about go ahead before
well, I
you
was gonna say,
forget.
do you have a guitar center near you?
I do not.
So there's a little, you can order it for shipping, right? But there's a little guitar that the where he's taking lessons let us borrow one for him to try, until Christmas, because we were going to buy him something for Christmas if he stuck with it. And it's a Luna guitar, and they've got one. It's regular $150, and they've got it on their Black Friday sale for $89.
Oh wow.
And he loves it. It's a 3/4 size acoustic, but dude, it sounds good just for us sitting around on the couch and picking, or if
Right.
you're going to take it with you if you travel. It's a great little guitar. And so we ordered him one of those. We've got a guitar center 30 minutes away, so we
Right.
just ordered it for in-store pickup. But you can order them for shipping, and man, it's a
Yeah.
good little guitar for especially for $90.
I think the closest one to us is I don't know, maybe 2 hours.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, no. So, my daughter's boyfriend, I thought about it the other day. I was like, hey, the whole Snapchat thing, and nobody communicates through phone calls or text anymore, but normal text. But anyway, so everybody does Snapchat. Anyways, I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, kid, I was like, how about, so what do you think about maybe one weekend when you come over, I get you and my daughter, y'all can come out here and help me clean the garage up. And I said, for a couple of reasons, I was like, one, to kind of get y'all doing something, be productive and make sure everybody's not getting in trouble. And he's into cars and he's kind of into, wanting to see some stuff with the Trans Am, and he's ridden in the Caprice and all that. So he's all for it. But I figured she's got a big, she can organize and clean very well, but she
Yeah.
doesn't really know what a lot of stuff is. And I don't need somebody that I have to babysit on, don't throw that away, don't do this, don't do that. I'm like, hey,
Mhm.
kid, you might be able to help her, and she help you, well, y'all help me. So I'm going to try to see if maybe over the next several weeks I can get them over here to kind of help me out a little bit, start
Yeah.
going through some stuff and throwing things away. And that'd be nice because I'm really thinking now about a space that I've got out here about setting up all my gym equipment
Mm.
and start doing more at home. So, because I've got like a freestanding squat rack, we've got like a Bowflex tread climber.
Yeah.
Uh, but the problem is it's in my basement. The tread climber thing's in my basement. And for me to walk on it, like my head's right here at the ceiling. So I step
Mm.
up, I bump my head on the ceiling.
So
But then
speaking
I've
of
got like
that, there.
500 pounds of free weights out here.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and I've got a freestanding squat racks, and I've got a Olympic bar, curl bar. I've got some TRX bands.
Yeah. I was on Amazon. So I told you I'm an Amazon like affiliate, right? So I can see some of the deals and things and be able to like post them out there. And it doesn't change the pricing, but I can technically get a commission if somebody buys them. But that's not why I'm saying this. I don't know if it's something you'd be interested in, but I saw they have a deal for like the power cages. So it's like the squat racks, but it's the 4 post. So you're
Uh-huh.
inside the thing. You do rack pulls in it with the
Mm-hmm.
covers. They had them on sale. They were like, one of them was like $310 and one was like $560. I was like, that really surprised me as cheap as they were. And I was like,
Yeah.
I wish I had room for one.
So there's one, I think PRX, I think that's one of the brands. There's a few different ones out there that you can get that fold up flat against the wall.
Those are cool. Yeah.
So so the guy at work and I were talking about that today. I actually looked into it pretty heavily there at one time on building my own foldable squat rack to put up into the wall. But then I'm like, time. I'm
Yep.
like, does it make sense for me to spend $150 and then maybe a weekend or more of my time, or just spend $300 on something and I put it up and be done?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Time value of
So
money, man. Like that one is one that, especially like if those were actually the price differentials,
yeah,
just like with Layla's car, right? When we did the Civic, which by the way, we're on alternator number 7 now.
geez,
She's had 2 more go out, and we've literally
there's
checked it, like,
something going on with that car.
bro, but they've checked it all out. And, I've looked, I disconnected the amp just because I was like, maybe, so I disconnected it for this last time.
He
But
checked
literally,
all the grounds.
we put everything on there, right? It leaves the shop. It's good for a day or two. And then all of a sudden you hear it start to squeal.
Ew.
It's the damn bearing in the alternator. It just gives out. Well, and so they did buy a Bosch one, not this last one, but the one before. And finally, we're like, look, if it costs more, buy a fucking Honda alternator and I'll
Right.
pay you the difference or whatever. Because at this point, like, I mean, they're getting paid for the warranty work every time they do it. But I mean, I'm literally every 2 weeks taking the thing back to them, putting another alternator on it. But if you talk about time, right? I could have saved $110 because that was about what the labor was for them to put the alternator on there, because it's not a difficult job. And it would have took me 45 minutes to an hour to do it because, again, it's not a hard job. But if I had done it, I'd have to deal with a warranty claim, deal with going back to O'Reilly or whatever, getting another one.
Taking it
And
apart.
I would have done this job 6 times by now. And
Yep.
now, if you figure even if I got good at it half an hour, I'm still, I've come out time ahead having somebody do it. And that's where, I really, there's some things that are worth doing. And there's some things that are worth just, if you can buy something that'll do it, do
Yeah.
that. And
Well, that's told Holly. I was like, kind of getting to the point, and I was like, oh, if I'll keep fucking with this Volvo or not. But
yeah.
well, then Caitlin broke the side window. I don't think I told you about that. So that was
On the
nice.
Volvo?
Yeah,
Well,
because I've had issues with the glass popping off the track, and I put new guides and all in it, but I think the regulator's bent from the first time it popped off track on me, and I didn't know what was going on. It was like fucking jamming the window up in there sideways. Well, anyways, she hopped in one day to drive it and rolled the window down on that side, not thinking about it. And then she knew, and then she went to roll back up and it messed up. So then she rolled down a little bit and she's over pulling on the glass and like
Right.
forcing it. I'm like, what are you? I said, stop. I was like, it's not going to go up. You're going to fuck it up. And because I've already chipped up the front corner of it a couple times by that happening.
Mhm.
And so later that evening, I came home. It takes me like 5 minutes. I'll pop the door panel off and like I pop this little cover off and I can get in there and work the switch up and down and then work the window up by hand and get it back on the track.
Yeah.
But the front corner of it is like broke. It's got, it's broke from one top to the bottom. And so it's going to need a new glass for that door. And I'm at a point too. I'm like, if I can find somebody that's got one that's like garbage and they'll partner it out, I'm gonna buy a door and a hatch now.
Yeah. And just be
And then
done
I'm
with
like,
it.
I don't know if I want to be this guy and just buy a bunch of all those or just get rid of it. But then I'm like, if I get rid of it, I'm getting rid of it with problems, and then I got to pick up another problem. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I get that, man. It's always something.
It is, unfortunately.
So what plans you guys got for the holidays? I know you said you were gonna go back to the Christmas thing is it at the theme park that you're
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to?
we're doing that. Um, I got the family coming in for Thanksgiving, and kind of the same thing for Christmas. I got some family coming up, but hell, we really don't have a whole lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah, we're changing things up a little bit this year. Without
Uh,
dad, we're doing
Yeah,
Thanksgiving, with we used to do it at my grandmother's house for my side of the family, and then my wife's side of the family, we kind of rotated between us and my sister-in-law's house for hosting Thanksgiving. But the last few years we've hosted Thanksgiving for them. We do it the Saturday after. And that's been a blessing because it's like they've always done theirs on the Saturday following. And, so then we've done ours on Thursday and then there's no conflict. There's no trying to rush from
right.
one place to the next. And then my sister-in-law, they're doing Christmas. But they live like 4 miles from us now. So we can we hit my grandparents, then we go there on the way home and see them and
Cool.
come home. So it works out really well. But yeah, so next weekend is literally my last day at my current job will be the day before Thanksgiving. And of course we're closed Thanksgiving and the day after. And then I'll be off Saturday, Sunday, but I'm hosting Thanksgiving at the house. My friend from Atlanta is coming into town Friday, so I'm gonna try to meet him for lunch. And then it'll be back to work at the new job on Monday. So it's like it's gonna be, not a lot of really disconnect time in between
Yeah,
to kind of recoup. But I'm so excited about the job that I think it's gonna be fine. But
yeah,
all my equipment started coming in today, but they were like, don't start your laptop up and everything until your first day because we'll walk you through the initial setup and all. And yeah, they've got their policies and reasons why. But I'm like chomping at the bit. I'm like looking at the box. I got a new toy. I
yeah,
want to play with it.
yeah.
So
Well, that's like when I went for my orientation for my job. The orientation was on Friday. I didn't actually start in the office till Monday, and they gave me all my laptop and all this stuff. I'm like, all right, great. And then Monday I come in, oh, have you started messing with your laptop yet? I'm like, no. Was I supposed to? I'm like,
yeah,
I was under the impression the way they told us that someone would come from IT and help everybody set up their computers or wherever. And I'm like, they're like, oh, okay. And I went like 2 days without a computer.
yeah.
And then come to find out, I had all the shit in my bag to boot it up. I'm like, really? But it's what it
If
is.
only you knew an IT guy that you could ask questions to.
Yeah.
But
Well, no, I mean, it wasn't a big deal getting it going, but the way they had told us, they would have somebody come out and help do all your whatever,
yeah,
all your stuff for the company. I'm like, all right. And then, they had everything like the other woman that started with me. Well, I've got mine going. I'm like, I don't know. I got to looking through my stuff and I'm like, oh, I feel like an idiot. It was right in the folder with all my onboarding stuff.
well,
But
Chris, I wish I could tell you that IT guys don't go back to their desk and be like, that dumbass.
yeah,
But
which
sometimes
I
they do.
never even talked to any of the IT guys.
Yeah.
But like, we don't even have one in the office, so it was like somebody gonna have to and I'm like, I don't know. There was some other shit like with the whole switching my insurances around and ways they like us to do it, and
Mhm.
having somebody ready to be like, per my email. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
But Well, we're closing in on bedtime for the kiddos. I know you've already
Yeah.
put one of yours to bed, but mine is getting
Yeah.
ready to go to bed. And I will say, we talked about this earlier. Maybe I mentioned it. The plan right now, we're kind of rolling into the end of what I would call, I guess, season one, right? And we're going to take a little bit of a break just to spend some time with the kids through the holidays, do some recording, and kind of get some content built up. So episode 24 will be our last one for a little while. I imagine probably mid-January. I mean, we're not talking months that we're not going to release anything. It's just going to be
Yeah.
a short break while Chris is traveling for work. I'm getting acclimated to my new job. We're doing dad stuff for the holidays. We're just going to be present with the families. So that's what it's all about. I hope, everybody
Mhm.
that's listening does the same thing with their wife and kids and, whoever their significant others
Yeah.
may be.
Yeah, we're gonna
But
work on trying to bump up our other social medias a little bit, even
Mhm.
though we said we want to try to stay off of them, but more from like a personal aspect. But we're gonna work on, making more reels, little shorts, or if there's anything, little videos you want us to talk about, anything, whatever. I mean, but just try to promote a little bit more. Like James said, we'll record a little bit more so that way we get a little bit more ahead. And the holidays and traveling, and it's just,
it's a lot.
everybody knows it's a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yep,
So
that's one thing about our crowd that the folks that have been listening to this and do listen to this, like they get it. They're all trying
mhm.
to do the best they can for their families too. So,
Yeah.
um, that's a good thing. And so I told you I had an idea for in between for
Yeah.
shorts and little content things that it's not some earth shattering thing, but I was thinking about it today, like when I found that dually or when I found like the really
Oh
cool
yeah.
van or find a cool wagon on Facebook Marketplace, like I think it'd be pretty funny if a few times a week or, I would shoot for daily, but God, I don't want to promise something I know I can't do. Like find something interesting on Marketplace and like just make a quick little video about something you found and kind of
Oh
scroll
yeah,
through. Like,
yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
You
Cause
can kind of do it where you superimpose yourself over like a
right.
screenshot of it or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
And I
pretty
won't
cool.
lie, I've got a whole folder of like funny ways that I've found people like posting mirrors for sale. I don't know why, but I think it
Yeah.
is hilarious.
Oh yeah,
Because
I'm all
it's either
for
they're
all that.
trying to not be in the picture or like they're just owning it, but they're in like their slippers.
Oh
So,
yeah,
oh man.
yeah. I've seen quite a few of them. Every now and then, like you scroll through, I'm like, really, what do these people think?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. But yeah, I find, interesting cars, cool cars, all kind of stuff. And I was just thinking, we could find a format to kind of post those, like you said, as like a green screen thing about, some stuff we find and what we
Oh
like
yeah,
about them. And, I thought that'd be a neat idea. Among other
yeah.
things, I'm sure we'll come up with that we want to post. You and I have had some ideas for more like, skit kind of stuff like people do, just
hmm
that would be funny. But it's just finding the time. So,
Well, we've talked a little bit about trying to do some sort of merchandise and
mhm.
how that would look like, and where we would sell it from. So there's a whole lot of other things we're trying to in the works. It's not like we're stopping. It's just
Mhm.
we gotta reallocate our time a little bit.
I want a
And
high octane dad's beanie for myself. So I want to make some, but I'll tell you, there's probably about 3 days here in Georgia where you can really wear a beanie more than 20
man,
minutes. But
it's something that I need before I go to Chicago. But
when do you leave?
well, uh, the
Because I
Monday
found a
after Thanksgiving.
website that does them. So
Well, it's the Monday after Thanksgiving.
I can have it shipped to your hotel.
Yeah, I'm supposed to fly out December 2nd and then fly home on the 13th, which is a Friday the 13th. So that ought to be interesting.
That's a man.
So I'll make sure before I
That's a
get on the
while to be
plane.
away from the family for
It
right
is.
right through the holidays. I mean, you got to do what you got to do
Yeah.
for your job, and it'll be worth
Right.
it for sure. But
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's going to suck because that weekend in between, I'm there just by myself, and that's my birthday weekend. I'm like, fuck. So, I mean, I'd like to try to go out during the day while I'm there and maybe do a little bit of sightseeing, but,
and Steve and them
Chicago,
won't even be there to take you out.
yeah, they won't even be there. But I figured I'll just maybe try to find me a good restaurant, maybe do something
I'm,
cool while I'm there. But,
I'm sure they can make
uh,
some recommendations.
oh, yeah. Yeah, I went today and finally got my hotel reservation done. So I got a place that's got a cooktop and it's got a 24-hour gym in it. Well, it's got in my room, it's got a fridge and a cooktop and a dishwasher. and all that shit. And then it's got a 24-hour gym and a sauna, indoor
Nice.
pool. So I'm going to try to see if I can't utilize all that a little bit. I figured first day I'm going to get there a little bit early. So, well, the first
Yeah.
day I don't have any class, so I'm going to get there a little early, and I'm going to try to go to the grocery store, get some junk, and get all my stuff situated. Kind of wander around the hotel and figure out where everything's at. So
Good deal.
yeah,
Well, like I said, we'll definitely try to do some recording during that time. We'll get episode 24 knocked out next week, recording wise, and we'll get that out the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and then we'll wrap for a little while. But we'll still be around. We'll still be active in the group. We'll still be posting stuff there. You just won't see new episodes for a little bit, but that's it's better we let people know versus, oh, they just died off. And, I think it's just a natural thing and probably will be a regular thing for us, especially like right here at the holidays
yeah.
and,
Well,
potentially some in the summer where, we kind of have a
yeah,
couple breaks throughout the year. Like you got to have a break from anything. We
yeah.
don't get to do this full time.
No,
And so, it's making it work and still being there for our families. And, I would, I love doing this. It's a lot of fun, but if it was like
mhm,
coming between me and the family, like, we'd have to shut it down or do it once a month or, there's
yeah.
just what it would have to be. And I think anybody listening here is going to understand that. So,
Oh yeah. Whew, um, and if with us doing this, we might end up having an opportunity, or we may end up getting a wild hair in our ass. We might record more, and then we'll get
Mhm.
ahead. So then we less times where we do have breaks. And originally
Exactly.
that was our intention, was to get a little bit of ahead, but uh, we started and then we had a few ahead, and then life. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, we'll get there.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I think we'll wrap it up there and then we can, pick up next week.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And if anybody's interested in hanging out for the mega episode for episode 24,
Yeah, that's
let me
another
know.
thing I wanted to bring up. That uh, obviously, if you listen this far, that we would like to set up more interviews and more
Yeah.
guests. So in all sorts of things. I mean, uh, we
I'm
like
still
to
looking for
focus.
somebody passionate about EVs that wants to come on here and tell us we're dumb and old hicks and everything
Yeah.
else.
No, I mean, I'd like to have some people like that. Just we can have stories, and like we have
Mhm.
been doing, or like we've talked about, having some people on, we can learn some new things.
Oh yeah.
That'd be really cool. I know I have quite a few friends that are uh, small business owners in the area that are parents, but they may not be into cars, but they're into all sorts of different things that I'm interested in. So I wouldn't mind talking with some of those people, just to kind of get some different views on things. And I guess if that's something people want to listen to, I mean,
Heck yeah. I
great, let
mean,
us know.
any dad that's out there doing something you're passionate about and finding a way to do it while
Mm-hmm.
raising kids and, doing that, like, I mean, musicians, right? Like, how do you find time for
Mm-hmm.
band practice? We're struggling sometimes to find 2 hours a week to record and edit, right? Like, how are you finding time to do band practice and shows
Mm-hmm.
and different things? I mean, that's awesome to me, right? And
Yeah.
anybody like that wants to come on and just chat and hang out, I'd love it. So
Oh yeah.
cool, man. Well, I'm gonna go tuck these kiddos in. Tomorrow's Friday. Made it to the
Yeah.
end of the week at least, so we get to chill a little bit with the family this weekend.
Yeah.
My new washing machine gets delivered tomorrow. So
Yay. Adult
all right,
purchases.
yeah, adulting sucks,
Yeah.
but got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope everybody has a good evening, Chris. Hope you have a good one.
Too.
All right. Have a good evening, folks.
See ya.